Drink driving is in the spotlight again after 6 people were killed in a traffic accident near Lok Ma Chau. The victims were in a taxi which was crushed by a medium-sized lorry. Sorry, that just Dennis Ho reports.
The aftermath of a deadly accident, which left a taxi driver and his 5 passengers dead. It happened on the Chow Tau section of Castle Peak Road at around 7 o'clock this morning. A medium goods vehicle travelling towards Lok Ma Chau apparently swerved into the path of the taxi, which was heading in the direction of Lo Wu. The lorry crashed onto the pavement, crushing the taxi underneath. Police said the wreckage dragged along the road for about 50 meters before coming to a stop when it hit a tree. There were no obvious skid marks on the road, suggesting the brakes had not been slammed on suddenly. There were no survivors in the taxi, but the lorry driver suffered only minor injuries and was taken to hospital. He failed a breathalyzer test. He was more than 4 times over the drink driving limit.
The prescribed level of alcohol in breath limit is 22 milligrams per 100 milliliters of breath. However, his result is 93.
The driver will be charged with dangerous driving causing death and driving under the influence of alcohol. The 5 taxi passengers were all steel workers on their way to work from Lok Ma Chau to Ho Shang Hang, where they work at the Correctional Services Department construction site. According to their co-workers, they take the same trip at around the same time every morning, and this would have been their last day of work before the Lunar New Year break. Distressed relatives soon arrived at the scene. And so did the man's co-workers, most of them overcome by the sudden loss of those who worked side by side with them every day. One of the victims was this man's son and the sole breadwinner of his family. He leaves behind a 10-year-old child. The boss said he had paid the man early for the Lunar New Year and he promised to help the families with funeral arrangements. Chief Executive Donald Zhang visited the scene about 4 hours after the accident. 5 families have lost their men. What are you going to do about it? One relative shouted. He then pleaded for stricter road regulations and harsher punishment against drunk driving. The chief executive agreed that drunk drivers should be stripped of their licenses and promised to extend every help to the affected families. He appealed to all drivers not to go behind the wheel if they have been drinking. Police said their investigation will focus on the state of health of the drivers, the speed of their vehicles, and whether the lorry and the taxi were roadworthy. Dennis Ho, TVB News.
The law was amended only last year to increase the penalties for drink driving and for dangerous driving causing death. But some legislators feel the punishment is still not harsh enough to act as a deterrent. 2 deaths back in 2007, which resulted from drivers going behind the wheel under the influence of alcohol, prompted a change in the law. The maximum penalty for drink driving at the moment is a $25,000 fine, 3 years in jail, plus 10 points off the license. When the new law comes into effect on the 9th of February, guilty drivers will have their licenses suspended for at least 3 months, and they must attend a driving improvement course. The maximum penalty for dangerous driving causing death right now is 10 years in jail and a fine of $50,000. The custodial sentence was doubled last July. One legislator called today for even tougher penalties.
Let the driver, to let them know if they violate the law, they will be suspended their driving license in a longer period of time, but not just for 3 months.
The Institute of Advanced Motoring urged drivers not to drink at all.
Although the law allows us to take a certain amount of alcohol, but it takes a responsible driver to take control of a motor vehicle, which, with due respect, is a lethal weapon by definition.
Alcohol in the blood, he warned, may act as a stimulant, causing hallucinations. It would also slow down a person's reaction in an emergency.